Hi everyone, Lazy Fire here. Welcome to the Hate the Player podcast. We skipped last week. We almost skipped this week because we're adults. Three Toes and I are adults.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, maybe chronologically.
Chronologically, I own a house. I don't
Well,
clean it or anything.
me and a bank own my house, but
Yeah, yeah. That's kind
I'm
of how mine works
slowly
too.
purchasing it from them month after month.
Yeah, very slowly. In 30 years, I'll own this house too. Uh,
On this episode, we explain mortgages.
yeah. Okay, everyone. Now, when you get escrow balance, that's not a bad thing. Don't call the bank asking what that is. My cousin made that mistake. They looked like idiots. Um, that's actually a true story. My cousin did not understand what an escrow balance was
I,
and called the bank and like demanded their money.
to
And
to be fair, like the first time mine showed up, and it was like, the first couple of times it's like out of whack or whatever because they
yeah,
can't properly predict property tax or whatever it is. Like,
hmm
I was actually a little worried because it made the way that it looked, it sounded like I owed them another like $1,300 on the month.
yeah, yeah,
And then I basically just like I didn't call the bank. I called my dad. I was like, "What does this mean?" He's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about that. That'll sort itself out."
yeah. Um, Recently, at the end of last year, my bank decided that they were going to try to fool me into giving them more money. Because they basically sent me this thing saying this is how much you need to have in your first month's payment to make sure that you cover your escrow balance remaining for the year. You know, you have an outstanding balance of 200. Well, they actually didn't say how much I needed to send them. They just kept saying you need to send us a check. You need to send us a check.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at this thing like it doesn't say where they want me to call so they can tell me what they need me to send. But I looked at my actual mortgage statement that came with it, and I had been overpaying for the last year, on purpose actually. But like my balances were totally fine. They were just basically trying to get me to send them a check for like 300 some odd dollars or something like that. Like it never clearly said pay us this much, but it threw around like $758 and $342 and stuff like that, and it was like our bank's shady. We should now. I don't know
To
if
be
you know.
fair, your bank is just a guy on the corner in a van.
Yeah, I don't know why I trust Jim Bob, but he seems like he's been around the block a few times. Um, but I don't know if you had this happen to you, but when I got my mortgage with one company, and it was sold within a year to another company, and 6 months after that, it was sold to another company.
Yikes!
I think
No,
I'm on my third, but I could be on my
Jesus,
fourth.
no. I went straight to Wells Fargo for mine, so
Yeah.
it's stayed put.
Oh, good. Exciting mortgage chat.
Yeah,
Turn in next
enough
week when
of
we talk
adult
about
chat.
annuities
Let's
payments. Uh,
Jesus.
well, that's the thing. Like I've had time to play games, but uh, I don't know what I want to say about them because, well, basically all I've played is Mercenary Kings, and I don't know if you know what that is, but
I
it's
do
sort of
not.
like a Metal Slug game with crafting.
Huh.
Have you played a Metal Slug game?
Oh yeah, I played Metal Slug.
Okay, so it's kind of like that. It's a side-scrolling 2D shooter.
Right.
Uh, it's a little bit more expansive. They use the same map over and over again and put new stuff in it. Like here's a boss, here's this thing, go do this, accomplish this objective. You have to collect shit from killing enemies and from breaking boxes, and then you
Hmm.
go back and you make new guns and armor and modifications and all this other stuff. It's actually a pretty fun game, but it's like at times the most frustrating fucking game in the world. Not because it's like incredibly difficult or anything like that, but it puts you in these bullshit situations where it's you have to jump from this thing to this thing, but it sends one of those like these robots at you that fly, and if you try to shoot it, or if you don't shoot it just before it gets to you, it will knock you off the platform and do pretty harsh damage to you by knocking you off the platform, in addition to whatever it hit you with. And it makes you go through that room like 3 or 4 times to accomplish all your objectives. And there's like rooms where if you go through on from the left to the right, you're totally okay, everything's sweet. If you go from the right to the left, it is the most bullshit room in the game. And it's like I don't know if they like tested that. It was a Kickstarter game. I don't know if they tested that or thought about it or what they did, but there's certain rooms in that game where it's like, okay, you have to go to this area. I was just like, fuck this game. I don't want to play this anymore, and I like put it down. And then I came back to it. I have 24 hours in that game. So that's what happens when you spend a week unemployed. By design. My house got slightly cleaner, but mostly I got really, really angry at Mercenary Kings.
It's time well spent.
Yeah, sure. Have you actually touched any video games?
I have.
Oh?
Shockingly, actually, thanks mainly due to another Let's Play I've been watching. Generic B's been doing Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, really?
And
so you went and dug that out?
Yeah, I went and dug it up. You know, I don't have my live account anymore, but I can still fire up my Xbox and throw it in there.
Yeah.
Watching that Let's Play made me realize how much I miss that fucking game. Like, it is so good.
It is a really good game.
It's so good. Great replay value. And I know a lot of people don't really dig the whole like sandbox aspect that a lot of Rockstar games have. But I feel like Red Dead had like the perfect mixture of structured stuff to do within the sandbox.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as loose as you could play it completely loose and just go do whatever you want and do some wacky stuff and play around with some of the bugs that are in the game that are hilarious. But just the random stranger missions, the people you run into on the trail, like the hunting's great. I mean, it's not realistic at all, but like I could easily just waste like 2 hours going up into the mountains and like hunting elk and trying not to get destroyed by bears.
Yeah. Yeah, the game had a lot to it, and it was one of those games where you could really create your own fun a lot of the time and get away with it.
Yeah.
Like back when it was semi still like working, or there were still people in it, me and a bunch of other goons tried to bear bait a bear like from the mountains into a town.
I think I was there. Yeah, I remember that.
I know Ahnuld was there at the very least. We like slowly aggroed it towards town.
Yeah.
And like we didn't quite get it there. I think a couple times it fell into a ravine or something like that, and people had to put it down.
I seem to remember that when it got to within a certain proximity of a town, it would automatically just turn around and head back to the hills.
Maybe, but that might be one of the things that they put in there. Rockstar is occasionally clever with their programming.
Right.
But yeah, like it was a really good game. It got away with doing certain things that you couldn't get away with in GTA, like the story it had in there. Like if a GTA game tried to have the story or the ending it had, it would just fall flat.
Right.
And just the way they were able to present certain things, it worked really, really well. And considering what the first Red Dead game was like, I'm surprised as hell that game worked out as well as it did.
See, I never played Revolver.
I have it right here at my house. Huh. Let me explain something to you about Red Dead Revolver.
Maybe you should do a Let's Play of it.
No, it was not a very good game.
Well, again, maybe you should do a Let's Play of it. Because you play horrible games.
Wolfenstein's pretty great.
True. Wolfenstein is seemingly amazing. So
it's really fun. I suggest anyone with a... Now, here's the thing. It's one of those games, it runs on ID Tech 5, and apparently ID Tech 5 is really shitty. I don't want to use the words really shitty, because I'm sure, well, it's really shitty. If you turn away the mega textures, you know how Unreal, like, loads textures up really slowly?
Yeah.
You might have seen it in the Wolfenstein Let's Play, but because YouTube slows everything down to 30 frames per second automatically, it might not have appeared. But if you turn your head too fast in Wolfenstein, you can see stuff just appear in the world. Like, half the world just, like, phases in instead of the textures, like, loading in once. It's a weird way to do things, but it doesn't really detract from the gameplay too much, except you think you see ghosts all the time.
Right.
But apparently on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, the way they kind of kept things at a constant frame rate was to intelligently, as they put it, lower the resolution of the game as like enemies appeared on screen and stuff like that. they'd leave the frame rate alone, but they'd drop the resolution down and just scale it up,
Hmm.
which is a clever way of doing things. But apparently on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, the previous gen consoles, it's very, very noticeable that these things are happening, and not at all advisable that you pursue that route. So I guess that's a bit of a warning.
Gotcha.
I do
Um,
suggest anyone who wants to play it go and play it because it's great.
but going back to Red Dead, um, that would probably be a game that would make me either build a PC or buy a new console. Is the next installment.
Yeah,
I'll just go
yeah.
ahead and say that. Like I wish they should have. I think they should have curtailed GTA 5 and just put out another Red Dead game.
I think a lot of people want that at this point because, I mean, look, GTA 5 is what it is. No one's going to complain too much about it, but like we get it. Saints Row is gone. The places GTA is gone already, and a lot of people appreciate the over-the-top style of GTA a bit more now. Or sorry, of Saints Row about now,
Hmm.
and it feels like, you know, okay, everyone, it's, basically San Andreas, but HD scaled and with 3 characters. With, I don't want to put down GTA 5, a game I have not played yet, and probably will not play actually. Um, but like Red Dead is such unshod territory. It's territory no one really walks over all that much,
Right.
and it's one of those few areas where you can get away with basically doing Unforgiven in a storyline or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
you want to do. And that's it. Felt like that was actually it. If Unforgiven had to have a sequel, it would have been fucking Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. That's pretty much exactly it. And I mean, what else? I mean, what else do you want than having an achievement for hog tying a woman and leaving her on a railroad track to be hit by a train?
Fucking Snidely Whiplash achievement, yeah.
Exactly. It's amazing. There's so much fun stuff you can do in that game.
Yeah, and
And I mean, and another sequel's coming. Like, there's no way they're
oh yeah,
not going to do another one.
yeah,
I think some like job posts, some slightly vague job postings from Rockstar have already kind of leaked out, suggesting that for the last like 2 or 3 years they've been hiring programmers for it.
yeah. I think it's probably inevitable that they do something. It was such a huge hit, and it had the Undead Nightmare DLC that
Yeah,
was a big moneymaker for them as well.
it was a great DLC too.
Yeah,
Like, you really got your money's worth with it.
and hey, multiplayer that featured player missions in it
Yeah,
that weren't fucking broken as shit.
yeah.
Uh,
And my only qualm with that game is having to play. I'm not even going to worry about spoiling the game for anyone who hasn't played it yet. I was pissed about having to play as Jack at the end of the game. I hated that kid.
yeah, he was only there for like 15 minutes.
I know, but like, he's just a whiny little bitch.
Yeah. I really, you know what? We'll talk about it because you already kind of mentioned it. I really, really, really didn't expect what happened at the end of that game to go down.
I didn't either.
Like you're getting this, it's like here are these missions, kill crows and like drive this team of horses to the other farm, and it's like, okay, uh, like we're gonna get back to killing people soon, right? And then fucking the game just goes down in that brutal gunfight, and you're like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Like, did not expect that one to happen.
Nope.
Um,
I did appreciate the whole revenge aspect at the very end.
mm,
Um, I thought it was a really cool way to end it.
yeah, I think that's. I think more games really need to do that sort of thing and just go ahead and you know. I don't want to say anything about the game I'm currently playing, but I'll just say that it ends ambiguously. Or the Let's Play I'm currently doing. I really wish more games wouldn't do that and would just straight up go ahead, murder your protagonist, let everyone know that you're not fucking around.
Right.
Like it, you know what? Too many games are basically sequel bait at this point,
Oh yeah.
where it's like,
Yeah.
obviously the story will continue in, whatever, the next game, basically a James Bond movie, you know. Uh, and honestly, it makes sense. You have all these assets from the previous game. You have these characters in a world that you've built, but you know, taking the safe route isn't always the route that's best taken.
Right. And and when I say that, kind of contrary to that, when I said that, a sequel to Red Dead is inevitable, not from the storyline standpoint. They could have left that completely as is.
Yeah.
Like it was a great ending
Mm-hmm.
that with no, no obvious conclusion, but it was so successful that they pretty much have to make a sequel to it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with taking the world they've built or taking the sort of standards that they put into the game and making another game in that franchise. I think that's totally, that's why
Right.
that's why they spent money on the Red Dead franchise in the first place back when Capcom refused to publish it. They bought the development house that was making it and published the game that was almost completed. That's how that game ended up the way it was. And then Dan Houser got involved in Red Dead Redemption and basically said, no, 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 GTA with horses. And then, like,
But it was so
decided
much more than that,
it
though.
was, but, I'm saying in the way it was structured in a lot
Right.
of ways,
Yeah.
it was like that. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. I guess not. My wife does not want to talk to me at all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she seemed happy.
It's like, you asshole, it's not Sunday.
Yeah, she seemed happy about not talking to me. She's flipping me off and yelling at me right now.
Get off your Skype phone.
Yeah, I should get off my Skype phone.
Tell her you're
Why do
talking
you
to
think
Jake
my
from
wife
State
has?
Farm.
Why do you think my wife has a southern accent? Is that just are you projecting?
I don't know. It's my own cultural
Ah,
experience, all right?
yeah. I can't say that you're wrong.
All women are Southern. All the good
He-
ones, that is.
Dear, he said all women are southern, all the good ones, that is. He is clearly retarded, you're correct. He is southern after all.
A little bit.
So, yeah, which means that we should probably cut this short so I can catch up. But yeah, like I completely see your point. Like, it's not a GTA with horses game. It's very clearly its own thing. It's just that because it shared some controls, like your aim down sights and everything like that, and some of the conventions with GTA, it was easier to throw that label at it. But I mean, look at the way it played and the functionality of certain things, and the Deadeye time and everything like that. Actually,
Right.
Deadeye get brought into GTA 5 with Trevor? I want to say.
Yes. Not quite. Well, no, Trevor had, okay, Trevor was the nuts one.
Yeah.
He would go into like rage mode to where he pretty much wouldn't take damage.
Oh, okay.
And
So
all of
Berserker
his
mode
and
from-
yeah, and like all of his shots would do like massive amounts of damage.
Yeah.
Franklin had somewhat of the Deadeye mode because it would slow down his driving
Uh-huh.
and give you like ultra precise control over like hairpin turns. You would hit it; it would basically go into bullet time, but you'd have complete control over your car. Like it would handle perfectly for a short amount of time in slow time.
Neat. Okay.
So you could like thread the needle between like two buses in traffic and weave through, and then whoever was following you would explode pretty much.
Neat. Yeah, so they added some stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I mean, like generally though, they are very different franchises, and the way they play is just at times a little similar. I mean, obviously there's no fucking lasso in GTA, and there's no chance of you shooting your car out from under you in GTA and then sending yourself off a cliff.
Right. Oh my god, I'm really fighting the urge to go turn it back on and play for the rest of the night, but I can't.
Yeah. It was one of those games when it first came out that I played that thing basically like nonstop, just like kept playing it, and then I don't know, like 36 hours into it, and I'm like, I should probably do some more story missions, and then finally beat it. It was one of those games where you kind of just like, I want to see what's over here. What's over this way? Is there
Right,
bandits? Is there going to be a guy shooting somebody? Am I going to catch a stranger mission? Like, what's going to happen?
right.
And it was a really fun game.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of storyline they go for with the next one.
Yeah,
You got to wonder if they're going to stick with the same characters and do like a prequel with like John Marston's gang days, or a lot of people. I remember when the game first came out, and reasonable amount of time, like after the first year, everyone started speculating about the sequel. If maybe Jack goes to World War I, because it ends around the early 1900s. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I'd be really interested to see what they do with it next.
yeah. It'll be really neat, to see. They'll probably keep the Western theme. I have to imagine.
I hope
That's
so.
just
Yeah.
that's got to be part of it. But like, it'll be really interesting to see how they handle that. Of course, there was the. Did you see the posting from inside? There was somebody who wrote on Glassdoor about Rockstar.
No.
It was a contractor who worked there for most of the duration of the development of GTA 5, and like there, he was basically saying that inside the company, like they treat you really badly. There's basically like mandatory overtime where they won't pay you,
Yikes.
and like everything's an emergency and has to be done that day. And then on top of that, and this is the funniest part to me, a lot of the actual like Rockstar employees are console fanboys, and will have like debates in the office over which console is better. And there are people who will like try to get in features and code and like better runtime environments for whichever console they like the best. Like
Yikes.
it's apparently, according to that one guy, though, that's one office that this one guy worked in,
Right.
and that might be hyperbole because it sounds like it's almost impossible to do some of the stuff he suggested. But like, to me, that's just sort of, it's very much a one of those things that makes you wonder, why does it take so long for Rockstar games to come out? Possibly because they're constantly fighting over code. uh,
It could be.
the funniest part was that I don't know if you saw this one while we're on Rockstar. They decided to delay the PC release of GTA 5 to March.
Really?
It was
Oh
supposed to
yeah,
come out
wasn't
last
yeah,
week.
I was about to say it was supposed to be out by now.
Yeah, they announced the specs you'd need for the game. At the same time, they announced that they were pushing it back to March. It was due January 27th initially. Uh, and so people are having a fucking hissy fit. Oh my god. So there's two parts to it. One is people who have had this thing on the consoles for basically 2 years now going, haha, PC, don't you can get all the games first day, ha ha ha. And then you have the people on the PC who are basically like, let's boycott Rockstar from now on because they don't give us games when we want them. And here's the thing, though. They announced that they're going to launch GTA Online Heists the same day the PC version's released. So people on the PC will be able to go home download their copy and come home after, let's be honest, not going to work, and like they'll be able to play this game, get everything that was promised with this game 2 years ago when it was released, and then last November when it was re-released for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. You say what you want about the PC people. At least they only bought the game once so far.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very true.
Because I know of several people who bought. It's kind of like the thing I have the biggest problem with in this new console generation is because there's no backwards compatibility. Everything is like an HD remaster, and
Right.
it's like this game came out literally 6 months ago. Are you seriously making a definitive version for the Xbox and charging $60? Like, we packaged the $12 DLC together with it, so it's definitely worth $60 for an HD version. Like, I understand the consoles are first gen console development is probably not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but that's just laziness on company parts. That's just them trying to make a quick dollar.
Right.
I've seen people say like, "Oh no, they learned how to code on the console. They'll know how to do it better in the future." But why not make something new instead of just literally re-releasing what you had last time?
Yeah.
But that's my complaint of the day, among other things. Have you really played on anything else? Watched anything else interesting?
Not really. Still watching the Northern Lions like 4 times a day. Binding of Isaac runs, but that's kind of run its course. I mean, you can only watch so much of that. I think literally at this point, I've about seen everything the game has to offer.
Imagine being that motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah. God, it's. I mean, imagine. Well, the thing is, you have to think about probably how big his backlog of Isaac videos are now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because when you're, and even then, it kind of blows my mind to see. I'm sure most of them are just people trolling, but I'm sure there's some better players than him out there. But to see someone that good at the game is kind of nuts. To where, he's doing 25 to 30 minute runs on average for most of the characters. That just one day of saying that like an 8 hour day with a 30 minute lunch break in the middle, he could probably have enough videos to last him a week for Isaac.
Yeah, yeah, and I think but that's how a lot of the YouTube guys do.
Oh
Is
yeah,
they just
absolutely.
basically sit down and they go, "I'm going to record 16 hours of Minecraft today," and motherfucker, how? There's
Well,
not
I
much
think
to do in Minecraft.
yeah, I think that's a viable recording format for like Red Dead. Because you've got the story missions that kind of run into each other. Like, yeah, you can sit down and record 4 or 5 30-minute episodes of that.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely could. It's one of those games that just kind of lends itself to that format, and you can record yourself dicking around every now and again, or trying to go accomplish something or other, and you'd be
Right.
totally fine.
Right.
It's just like when I watch somebody play like 12 hours of fucking Spelunky, I can't watch that, and I can't imagine it's fun to live through
No.
like with the controller in your hand. Oh, speaking of people who fucking freak out over Spelunky, Patrick Klepek left Giant Bomb.
Really?
Yeah, back at once the Game of the Year announcements were done, he decided to fuck that up for the site and then peace out. I'm sure he was arguing for Goat Simulator to be Game of the Year, but um, yeah, it hasn't. He's apparently found other employment. Some people think it's Cards Against Humanity, so I'm sure we're going to get a lot of social justice cards coming at us in
Oh
the next
boy.
year or so. But um, yeah, I can't say I'm sad to see him go. I mean, there was a fucking Google Chrome extension called NoPat that took him off the site. He was no one's favorite. So,
I
good.
mean, I didn't really keep up with any Giant Bomb stuff, so it doesn't
I
really
don't know.
matter to me.
It's probably the one location or one like gaming site that I'll actually go to and watch stuff, because they generally don't have someone come through and like show them a demo and have to write nice things about it.
Right.
So it's almost all video now too, which is kind of what I'm seeing with a lot of sites. I mean, like 5 years ago even, video was not the main interaction with the audience, and now it is on video game sites.
See, and I'm kind of torn about that. Not so much with video game sites, but with media sites in general. Like,
Oh yeah.
I fucking hate it when I'm on, ESPN or CNN.com, see a story I actually want to look at, and it's a fucking video, and I'm like, no, I just want to read something. I don't want to sit through your shitty video.
Oh, you mean
Like,
you mean the
I
Onion
miss.
article is true? There was a no joke Onion article that was like, man clicks back because it's another fucking video.
Dude, that's me. That is
Yeah.
absolutely me.
No, I've been in that situation too. I know exactly how you
Like,
feel.
I wish they would just have an option to give me a transcript of the video that I can read, because sometimes, I don't know, I just don't want to watch some person struggle to read through some shitty script when I can just read some shitty journalist's writing that's not nearly as painful.
That was clearly written, like all pre-written, and then they just put the names in certain locations,
Yeah.
and sometimes forget to take them out
It's all just boilerplate.
with last name, first name. Yeah, that's always the best. Yeah, I hate that shit too. But on a video game site, it's actually kind of useful because they'll do things on Giant Bomb. They'll do things like Unfinished Friday. Well, they'll take a look at like a game demo that they've been sent or something like that, or like a Kickstarter access code that someone sent them to play with, and so they'll like play the game and talk about their feelings towards the game and stuff like that. And there was they did Metal Gear Scanlon, where they made one of the guys who'd never played Metal Gear Solid go through Metal Gear Solid with somebody who played a lot of it, and just like watched as he did not understand how things worked in that game. Uh, there's some really interesting stuff they do with it, and there's actually a guy X Panther X on YouTube. I think that's it. Who does best of Giant Bomb collections, where he'll just take their videos from like a few months and put together a 10-minute compilation of insane shit. Like when they were playing Forza Horizon, and one of the guys, instead of doing the race, just drove off into the countryside, and everyone had a long conversation about how Kid Rock would do that sort of thing. It was crazy. So I suggest going and finding those at the very least. They're great.
All right.
Um, Also, the what was it, the Velvet Sunset videos? Holy shit! They did this game. It was basically an interactive chat room called Velvet Sunset or something, or Velvet Sundown, where you would go up and like you're on this boat and you all had different jobs, or you're trying to convince certain people to do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
and everything you typed in was a text to speak program, and there was one of the guys was playing as this character named Boyle, who would basically like come up and try to convince you to invest in his nightclub that he was going to start, and everyone got like really annoyed. It was like, can someone figure out how to jump off the railing so I can get away from Boyle? And Boyle would like follow people around and just like, hey guys, I'm Boyle, you want to hear about my nightclub? And like try to exchange things with people for no reason. It was absolutely amazing. It's like a 30-minute video, but it's worth every second if you can find that. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Uh, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the Patrick Klepek-less future of Giant Bomb. I know my words sting him because anytime someone says anything disparaging about anyone, Patrick Klepek is there to stop them.
Maybe that'll actually give us some exposure for a change.
No, people would start listening to us less. It's like
Oh,
Patrick Klepek hates this. Patrick Klepek knows of these people. We should stop paying attention to them. Like, whatever. Um, so yeah, that's Giant Bomb. My favorite Giant Bomb thing. Uh, so we're kind of closing in on when I'd like to be done with this one because of the day of the week and everything.
oh, hey! Apparently, the State of the Union address was tonight.
Yeah, well, here's to another year of the Republicans in Congress not doing a damn thing.
And getting really mad about Obama.
That black man who runs this country, he don't know what he's talking
Oh,
about.
bongo!
Why do they get a Martin Luther King Day and we don't get a day for the white man?
Actually, South Carolina does have one. It's
Yes.
called Confederate Memorial Day.
No, man, doesn't isn't there a Robert E. Lee Day in North Carolina? I don't
I would guess Virginia if I had to
know.
guess, but no, we have as part of the stipulation for the state legislature to accept Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a recognized state holiday, they also had to accept Confederate Memorial Day.
Yeah, you ever wonder why people make fun of the South
No, I know, but
because of that
it's
shit?
also another paid vacation day for me. So
Oh, neat. Yeah, my current job does floating holidays, and they automatically float Martin Luther King Jr. Day and President's Day. So disrespecting the white man and the black man at the same time, it's pretty good. Hopefully Cesar Chavez gets a day, and we can just disrespect the brown man as well. That'd be pretty great. Um, but yeah, last thing before I go, I now work for a defense contractor, and I can only talk in really unspecific terms about certain things. I can say where I work, I can say that I work there, and that's about as far as I should ever go, apparently. But there were these intro videos that you can find as a new hire. And I went and watched one, and it was like showing our product in action, and it was set to Linkin Park
Oh God.
for like 4 minutes of, things surfacing and firing missiles. Linkin Park is just talking about they tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't really matter. And I'm like, who picked this fucking
Holy
music?
shit.
And then midway through there's like a fucking Seether song about something else. And I was just like, what the
Well, hey,
what in the,
at
what
least
the
it,
fuck?
at least it's not let the bodies hit the floor.
That would actually have been a great song because the song in the middle of the video was seriously about how the lead singer wanted to have sex just so they'd feel something. And it was not like subtle about that. It was seriously like, I want you underneath me so I can feel something real. Those were the words of
Holy
the
shit.
song.
Your
What the
tax
fuck?
dollars at work.
What the fuck? Who chose this? It's like, I got my nephew. He's really savvy with these things. Shut up, Uncle Dan. I hate you.
A portion of our paychecks went towards making that video.
Yeah, in a roundabout way. It's the greatest thing. You go in the morning, you work on some of the most complicated shit on earth, and you go home at.
You still there?
I hit my mute button.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was flipping my phone around. I must have nailed it. So yeah, that was an eye-opening moment where it's like, oh no, oh no.
What have I done?
Back in 2009, this company really had no idea what they were doing. So that's my funny story from this week. I am not allowed to tell any other stories about my job, even to my wife. Like, I almost felt like I needed to clear, like, can I talk about our music choices in our hire videos?
Real quick, just for a little, because we always have to have at least a little bit of beer chat. And I don't know why I hadn't discovered this sooner, because it's not super obscure, but somewhat obscure unless you're just a tremendous beer nerd. So I'm a big fan of barley wines. I don't know if you've ever drank much barley wine.
I've had a few.
Well, Sierra's 2015 Bigfoot barley wine's fucking amazing, first of all, and really not all that expensive. But there's a guy here who pretty much knows more about beer and bourbon than anyone I've ever met. And he works at like a craft beer store and does like beer school events around town from time to time.
Cool.
Was chatting with him when I picked it up, and he was like, what you need to do is, when you get home, he's like, drink a bottle of it, enjoy it. Then, next time you want one, get like a snifter or a tulip glass. Take some bourbon that's a little more on the sweet side, pour just a tiny bit in the glass, and kind of, turn the glass around on its side to kind of coat the walls with the bourbon. Then pour the beer in and drink it. And it was absolutely amazing.
Really?
Yeah. So, barley wine and bourbon. Try it.
I'll have to give it a shot. Hey, Insurgency's $5 on Steam. Sorry, $4.50 on Steam.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, let me find 50 more cents and I'll see if I'm getting it.
It's all my money. Take it.
I gotta wait for my tax return.
Yeah. Oh boy, I can't wait to see mine. It's gonna be all fucked up.
No, but I should be getting a new laptop soon. So hopefully I'll be able to run stuff a little bit better.
Work laptop or?
Yeah, but they usually give us pretty up-to-date stuff.
Cool.
So
neat. Yeah, you can get that $1,300 laptop. Fucking Apple products.
Well, I have a choice if I want another MacBook or if I want a Dell Latitude. Yeah. So I still think the Apple's the less of two evils between those two.
It might work too.
Yeah. Like, I can probably play more games on the Apple than on a Dell Latitude laptop.
I was kind of upset. One of the discounts my company has is with Dell. You can get like a percentage off every time you buy a Dell product over $250. Or on special deal weeks, you could actually get a Dell product at cost. And I'm like, wow, this company fucking hates us. like, really? Dell products?
I mean, their monitors are still decent, aren't they?
They're okay. I actually don't mind their monitors. I have a Dell monitor at work, actually. It's a 21-incher or something like that. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's the biggest Dell laptop or Dell monitor I've ever fucking seen in my life. Because every company I've ever worked for, no matter what it is, gives you the shitty 14-inch monitor.
Oh, God.
And you're just looking at it like, am I fucking playing in the Stone Age with this shit? What is going on?
Like the
here?
ones that are locked on like 4:3 ratio.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. You'd like take the laptop, because the laptops all have fucking weird perspectives too.
Yeah.
You take the laptop out of the dock, and the laptop's like, no, fuck you, your Outlook is now minimized, and your, like, all your minimized shit is now maximized. What the fuck just happened? I fucking hated that laptop. But now I have a Dell desktop, so I'm living the slow-ass dream. I knew what I was getting into, because I knew exactly who the technology provider for my new job was. I had worked at another company that used them, and I knew exactly how fucked my situation was going to be before I even got there, and I just kind of accepted it. I knew it was going to happen, but
Right.
Dell products, just say no, kids. They're cheap, they're shitty. They'll probably murder your family and like kidnap your dog on the way out. So
Well, the kids nowadays are lucky they never had to live through the dude you're getting a Dell commercials.
that dude's got to be on meth somewhere.
Probably.
Dude, you're getting a blowjob so I can have fucking crystal. Like, well, that's got to be like the millionth time that joke's been made.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that kid probably went through college because of that.
I think he actually did have a decent little like acting career, at least like commercial acting.
I would almost guarantee you could like fucking look him up on Wikipedia and
Oh,
just
yeah.
be like, oh, that's what he's been in. Okay, yeah. A bunch of like cult movies that no one's ever heard of, and like
He was probably in Hackers. He was like Russian hacker number 33 in that scene where they're all uniting at the end.
oh god,
Hack
just
the
like,
planet.
Hack the planet. And he's just like jamming away on a Dell desktop,
God.
Dell keyboard.
No, it was
everything.
probably a Gateway 2000.
Oh god, Gateway.
They were fucking
That-
PAL
man.
boxes.
A while back, this is I swear we're gonna stop this. My parents wanted me to look at their computer. It has, I kid you not, Windows ME on it still.
Oh, God.
And they're still using the monitor they got with I want to say their Windows 98 computer. The reason their computers die and they have to like replace them so often, and this one's actually had a long life for no good reason. It's because they never clean the damn things. And so I took it apart. I took one look inside of it, and I was like, I have to go to the store. Well, you need to get the store that we don't have here, Canned Air. Because I just like show them all the dust
Yeah.
that collected. It's like there's no ventilation where you keep this thing. It's clearly this is your biggest problem right here.
Right.
It's like, but it you know, it's just really slow and hot. Yeah, because there's dust on it. What do you think that is? Cooling air? It's like, oh, it's just congealed cooling air. Yeah, that's what it is. It holds in all the good air. Because my parents, they know how to use computers. They know how to use iPads. They've just never figured out what the hell goes on inside a computer.
Lots of little Japanese people running around.
Yeah, and I'm sure my parents are just at home right now. Like, I wish my fucking son knew how to fix a goddamn light socket. Like, build a computer, fucking whatever. I can fix this shit in 10 minutes. Like, you know, it's just the way our generations are, I guess. But, yeah. So, any final words? I don't know if you... I know that you don't pay attention to the NFL as you are a Southerner.
Well, no, I do watch the NFL, especially around playoffs, Super Bowl time, but I'm just not as passionate about it as I am about college. And Motherfucking Ohio State won the national championship of college football, and I could not be more angry. I fucking hate Ohio State.
When you have to pick between Florida and Ohio, no, it wasn't Florida.
It was
was
Oregon.
Oregon and Ohio.
I wouldn't
I
mind
guess
Oregon winning.
Oregon is the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, absolutely.
They allow Portlandia to be filmed in their state, and I think that's the crime against humanity. But Ohio is the state with the most astronauts because people can't wait to get the fuck out of Ohio.
Yeah.
Get me as far away from Ohio as you possibly can.
There are more Ohioans in South Carolina than there are in Ohio. I'll put it that way.
There's more people of Irish ancestry in the U.S. than there are in Ireland. Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, where would I rather live?
And all they talk about is how great Ohio is, but yet they come here.
Yeah. What is great about Ohio? I've been to Ohio multiple times.
Yeah.
It's a large state. Congratulations, you have landmass.
Yeah.
You also have Cleveland to deal with, and the better part of your most famous city, Cincinnati, is in fucking Kentucky. Like the good stuff in your city, your favorite city to talk about, is not even in your fucking state. Like the zoo and the botanical gardens and everything, I believe, are in Kentucky, and like all the downtown stuff is in Kentucky. You have to go over a river to get to the good shit in another state.
I've been to Dayton, and I never wanted to slip my wrist more.
Yeah, I hear Youngstown is similar.
Mm.
I was actually on the West Virginia border, right where we'll see if you know this one, the Mothman Chronicles. You ever see that movie?
Nah.
Okay, well, there is a bridge in that movie. It's called the Silver Bridge. It's between Ohio and West Virginia. So if you ever wanted to go from Depression State to Depression State, that's a really good way to do it.
Well, at least West Virginia has the mountains.
Yeah, and the mountain people.
Well, yeah, but you can avoid them.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Anyway.
Sometimes they find you. But yeah, just a terrible location. It was constantly overcast, and they didn't know how to spell your. It was pretty bad. So that will do it for this edition of the Hate the Player podcast. Ahnuld was obviously absent from this. He's decided that his life is somehow better by not involving himself in petty arguments about video games every week. So who knows what's wrong with him mentally. Threetos, last words before I get off on another tangent.
Hack the planet.
Roll Tide?
Roll Tide and hack the planet.
Hack the Tide.